口の利き方に気をつけろてめえ。見下ろすなチビが。
Anime has a lot of satisfying moments. Heck, I even made a couple of videos on them, all which you should check out. How does that relate to today's list then? Well, our list today is about main characters being underestimated and making their arrogant opponent pay for it. You see where I'm going with this one, don't you? Yep, there's nothing more satisfying and stimulating than someone underestimating your main character, only for said main character to prove everyone wrong in a big, big way. So sit tight, we're going to be in for a ride today. Let me start things off with World Trigger.
俺はメガネよりてめえにムカついてんだよ。
Bullies are a bane of every student's existence. Anime has them in bunches too. And you know the thing with bullies, right? They think they're hot stuff and look down on people just because they got numbers. Unfortunately, these bullies from World Trigger underestimated the wrong guy. Yuma isn't someone you should take lightly, and these idiots learned that the hard way. Osamu gets the full brunt of their wrath, and it looks as if Yuma doesn't want to get involved. However, when the leader of the bullies turns his attention to Yuma, it doesn't take more than a few seconds for everyone to realize that he's made a really big mistake. And the guy paid for it with his leg. Yeah, that's gotta hurt. Not much is heard of these guys after this incident. Pretty much a confirmation of their status and what they really amounted to, right? Deservingly so, I think, too. Bullies aren't the only troublesome people in school. There's also the arrogant senior, one of which is Hattori. Honestly, Mahoka has one of the most fulfilling themes for teens, which is why I think it became quite a hit. It's all about striking back all the stereotypes from labels and the statuses assigned to you. You take those assumptions and you stick a bullet-shaped hole right through them. In some ways, turning Tatsuya into practically God may have been overkill to push the themes and premise of the series, but I'd be lying if I said that seeing him prove others wrong wasn't satisfying. When Hattori underestimates him for being a weed, all it takes is a duel for Tatsuya to shock the world. In a battle between a supposed terrible magician and one of the veterans in the school, it's easy to write off the weed, but not if said weed is none other than Godsuya, and he makes short work of his opposition. A preview to come for the even more insane feats that will leave everyone in awe later. How about this moment from Black Summoner next? A staple of power fantasy series like Mahoka is this element of proving everyone wrong. When people look down on you, you strike back and shove their words back at them with full force. Black Summoner has one of these moments when Kelvin finds himself face to face with a group of murderers. For murderers with such a reputation and loud mouths, all it takes is one slime to beat all of them. Yeah, a slime solos all of them, making all of their talking and underestimating of Kelvin all the more hilarious in hindsight. Yep, I know they're nobodies in a fantasy anime, and this result is nothing surprising for viewers. Still, it's quite a treat seeing them get bodied like that. Too weak, Kelvin says. Talk about turning the trash talk right back at your opponents for this one. Saitama vs Deep Sea King is the next moment on the list. Now you'd think with Saitama's feats, villains would have learnt their lessons by now. Apparently, Deep Sea King didn't get the memo, and his victories over numerous heroes got into his head a little bit. Well, after holding his own against Sonic and beating Genos, I don't exactly blame him, do I? But after the way he toyed with Moomin Rider, I don't ever think anyone will have sympathy for him when he gets one-shotted by Saitama. It's a glorious moment to see his hits finally get no-sold by a hero. For the numerous feats that he's been shown to be able to do, he really did find a match in Saitama, who talks some trash right back. Talk about getting a taste of your own medicine, eh? The difference here is, however, is that Saitama easily backs up his claim and punches a hole right through the villain, even stopping the rain in the process. Deep Sea King takes one of Saitama's signature punches, and he's done for. From magical powers to superheroes, how about we scale it down a little bit with this niche anime, Hinomaru Sumo.
口の利き方に気をつけろてめえ。見下ろすなチビが。
I'm not sure how many people watch this anime about sumo, but here I am featuring it and hopefully getting a new anime added to your watch list. Hinomaru Sumo is a pretty good watch, all things considered, even if you're not into the sport. It's also got the sports anime staple, the opening act where some bully or delinquent who's just so full of himself battles the young upstart. Said delinquent, Yuma, thinks he's some big boss as he destroys the Shinya sumo ring, and when Hinomaru lays down the gauntlet, the gang just can't help but laugh at him. Hinomaru is not the most imposing figure around, but when the time comes to take it to the ring, he easily turns things around. Even with the unfair rules, he completely destroys his opponent before being revealed to be a former champion. That's why we don't judge by appearance, folks. Hinomaru Sumo's a fun show that got me through a lot of emotions. It's a pretty complete experience, and while it's understandable why it isn't more popular, you should probably give it a shot sometime soon. And if you like what you've seen so far, don't hesitate to hit that like button. Arnos vs Sasha is up next on the list. How can we feature Tatsuya and not mention what I call his 2020's equivalent, Arnos? Anyway, Misfit of Demon King Academy and Mahouka have some similarities thematically. Sure, it's just an element or two, but it's also got the school setting with a godlike protagonist who gets underestimated a lot early on. Then again, after seeing Arnos correct his teacher and even show off how much better he is, you think that Sasha would stay in her lane. Not this time though, and she thinks that she's got it all under control. When Arnos appears solo and approaches her so-called invincible castle, it appears that her confidence is warranted, only for Arnos to just do the unthinkable and toss that puny castle aside in such a comedic manner. The magic duel afterwards is nothing but a formality at this point. Arnos even defeats her with a low-level spell, truly showing the difference between the two of them. I don't think you can make an even bigger statement than that.
見事だ。褒美をくれてやろう。
We move on to shonen anime territory now with Denji vs Bacta. Yeah, this year's super hyped hit Chainsaw Man is part of the list, and with a gallery of loud villains, we've all seen this coming, haven't we? Bat Devil in particular is quite the unpleasant individual. When he lays his eyes on Denji, he sees not a formidable opponent, not even a sumptuous meal for a devil like him. When he realizes too late that Denji is a devil like he is, an arm is already gone, Bat Devil finds himself in the fight of his life. Likewise, Denji finds himself in a situation where he may have bitten off more than he can chew when Bat Devil proves to be every bit as powerful as one could imagine. Thankfully, with the power of good old action hero determination and Denji's insatiable lusting, our hero's able to make his big comeback and save the day. Overall, a rather short but pretty cool fight scene with some rocking background music too. Oh, and one of the more brutal deaths in anime. On the other hand, it's nothing much for Chainsaw Man standards. Next, we have Luffy vs Bellamy. Remember Bellamy? Who? Oh, that hyperactive guy who spends his notable screen time taunting Luffy, pissing him off, and generally being an obnoxious guy about it. He knows how to talk big though, just that when it comes to putting his money where his mouth is, it's just pure disappointment. This is a Luffy who's grown since their last encounter, mind you, but as they say, arrogance turns people blind, and Bellamy was just too caught up in himself to be aware of this. As he ricochets all over the place, we all know Luffy's just letting him have his fun. And when the time's right, Luffy just smacks him down, defeating him and his powered-up attack in one punch. Our hero made it look so easy, and with this, Bellamy's time in the series as anything near a threat comes to an end. Asuna vs Seke is coming up now. It's easy to look down on a guy as obnoxious as early Asuna, and this is a guy who wants to take the entrance exam while having magical powers of a wet noodle. Yeah, someone like Seke could definitely see him as a stepping stone. However, when the test shifts to the combat section, it's all over for Seke. Imagine giving your opponent the first move just because you're so full of yourself. That's a life-ending mistake in actual combat, and while we've seen big villains do that with much success, Seke's nowhere near their league. Asuna just blitzes the guy and finishes it all in one shot. Black Clover is a really nice underdog story, and scenes like this early on set the tone quite well. I think it's a pretty inspirational theme for young anime fans too, to not let others' assumptions define who you are. Finishing off the list is Ichigo vs Byakuya. Among Soul Society's captains, Byakuya is the one whose pride is second to none. Maybe Aizen can give him a run for his money, but Aizen's not the time to underestimate his opponents badly until that last encounter with Ichigo. In Byakuya's case, the repeated victories against Ichigo solidified his assumptions about this kid. He never took him seriously. Even when Ichigo did the unthinkable and mastered Bankai in such a quick time, Byakuya was quick to brush it off, until Ichigo easily deflected Senbon Zakura's attack, and the prideful captain was finally forced to acknowledge the monster he created. It was his role as a wall in Ichigo's proverbial wall that helped the upstart push beyond his limits and accelerate his training. The battle did continue further, and Ichigo did find himself on the ropes, with another entity saving him. But the first part of the battle, where our hero showed off his Bankai and the Getsuga Tensho, was a thing of beauty, a redemption for all the underestimating done to him. as the list comes to a close, I want to know what your favourite moment is. Heck, you can tell me about other moments that you might think I've missed too. On the other hand, if you're looking for more videos, I do recommend the Satisfying Moments video. Head over to my channel and browse for something you might enjoy. Once again, thanks for watching the video. Wishing you a good day, and I hope to see you again.